So if you are struggling to hear God right now, the most likely culprit is fear. And this is why I am creating a whole series on the fears that block us from hearing God. And this video is pretty important because this fear in particular is something that I struggle with, and it's something that I see a lot of others that I coach struggle with as well. And that fear is this: we're afraid to go to God and to receive answers because we're afraid that God's going to give us something hard to do. He's going to invite us to do something uncomfortable, painful, that we won't be able to do it. And the root of this fear is not just that we're afraid of doing hard things. It's actually more so that we have an incorrect view of who God is. And I want to talk about 4 of those lies that you might be believing that are based upon your own experience of life, and also lead you through an exercise that could help you in addressing some of these fears. Okay? So, first fear that I want to talk about is that God is primarily demanding, not giving. Now, if you grew up with parents who were conditionally loving, which is 99% of this world, then in order for you to earn love, in order for you to gain love, you had to do something for it. When you followed your parents' or caregivers' advice, when you did what they said, then they would love you more. When you stopped crying, when you were just more pleasant to be around, when you did good things, they would love you more. When you got the A's at school, your teachers would approve of you. So this is something that is just part of the human experience. You can't escape it. And so what that does, though, is that it translates to a transactional God, not a transformational one, not one that is focused on relationship. No, God becomes someone that you have to earn his approval. And when your life becomes about earning his approval, then it increases your fear because you have to do the right thing. And everything that he asks of you, because everything is transactional, it is all this take. Serve me, serve me, serve me. And at least for me, I grew up in a faith where the message was serve God, serve God, serve God. Not God wants to serve you. Not like what Jesus told the woman at the well when he said, hey, if you knew who I really was, you would ask me to get you water. And when we read in Romans chapter 8, verse 32, it says, he who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? So when we shift from God is a God who wants to take to God is a God who wants to serve us and give to us all things, then all of a sudden we open the door to just how much God wants to help us in whatever we're doing. He's not going to give us a quote unquote hard thing just to see us suffer. He wants to invite us into things, and he wants to help us in them. He wants to serve us in the accomplishment of them. Okay, so a lot of these will tie together, but I'm going to go on to lie number 2. False belief number 2. God's will is mostly about subtraction, that he takes what matters. Now, this can come from a childhood experience where a parent says, you need to do this, even if it hurts, even if it's hard, and it's for your own good. And it's really interesting because I look at my own children, and there are times where I want them to continue to do something. For example, I want them to continue in this tumbling class because of what it will teach them. It is a hard thing that I'm asking them to do. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, hey, if they learn how to do hard things, then they can go out in the real world, which is hard, and it does get hard, and that they will be able to do those things. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. And in particular with my oldest daughter, I had her go to God and ask him what he wanted her to do. And he told her to continue in this tumbling class until the end of the semester. And so I'm not saying that God doesn't invite us into doing things that are difficult, like waiting. That's hard for me to do sometimes is to wait. But if our view of God is that he's constantly going to be someone that pushes us to do something hard, that there is no grace, there is no in between, there is no easing into things, then yeah, we're going to be afraid to ask. Yeah, we're going to be afraid to approach him. And I think part of the problem is that it's not only that we experienced maybe a parent that said, I'm doing this for your own good and you need to just suck it up, but it's that you're doing this on your own. There was no hand holding and support, like relational support through the hardness. It's just you figure this out when you are 5 years old, 8 years old, even as a teenager. It's like you figure this out on your own, and then they're left in this place of abandoned. And that's not God. God's not going to abandon us. Which leads me to false belief number 3, which is I would be left alone to carry it out. This belief that we are alone, that God's not with us, is one of the primary beliefs that creates fear. Because if you really think about it, if you truly believe that God is with us, one of his names is Emmanuel, God with us. If he's with us wherever we go and in whatever we do, then of course we can talk to the stranger, because it's not just me going. It's Jesus going with me, and he's going to help me know what to say. It's not just me, leaving this home or this job or whatever hard thing you think might come. God's going to prepare a way. There's this scripture, Deuteronomy 31 verse 8, that says, "It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed." So whatever uncomfortable thing you think God's going to invite you into, he's going to be there. He's already paved the way. He's gone before you. He's already experienced the uncomfortable moment before you even get there. So not only does he empathize with you, but he's already there. And I just think it's important for us to recognize it's totally human for us to resist and to be afraid of these things, of whatever our minds might imagine may be the hard thing that God's asking us to do, because our brain is designed to be efficient. It's designed to stay in the familiar, even if that familiar is painful, because it's all about let's use as the least amount of energy as possible. So the least amount of energy would be for me to just stay here and to keep learning and not create the business, because learning is easy. I can just sit in my home. I don't have to do anything. The easiest thing for me to do is to not create the video. It's to not risk messing up in front of the camera. It's to not write the book, because if I don't write the book, then I don't have to publish the book. And if I don't have to publish the book, then I don't get critiqued. And that's really nice. I don't want to get critiqued. So it's like our brain will go through these things and in a form of protection just say, hey, let's not do that. Let's not do that, because then we don't have to suffer. You're fine right now. You're safe. You're fed. You've got shelter. You've got things. So why do anything more? This is the very logical question that our brain presents. And yet our hearts know that there is something more. That there's more to us than the life we're currently in, that there's purpose beyond us, that there are beautiful and amazing things that we can accomplish. And it's likely going to require some amount of change. It's likely going to require us to do things different. So just know that the truth of God is found in John 10:10. I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. God's not here to take joy away. He is there to help us discover what would truly make us joyful. See, our bodies are very used to the pleasure kind of stuff. At least my body is. And so where my brain is likely to go is the hard thing that God's going to lead me into is that I'm going to have to give up all the pleasures. I'm going to have to give up everything that's fun, everything that I think is enjoyable. And that's a lie about who God is too, that I think this is what God does. When he recommends something, And this was also part of my own childhood. It's like when my parents would recommend things for me to do, it was usually something uncomfortable, and it was usually something that I never thought would be fun. And some of those things weren't that fun, and I really didn't want to do them. But because I wanted to make my parents proud, because I wanted to do what was right in their eyes, I would do some of those things. And so now I'm experiencing a God that's like, oh, I'm scared to talk to him about this stuff or about what to do next, because he's probably going to tell me something I don't want to do, because that's what my parents did. And I want to make dad proud. I want to make mom proud. So I'm just going to do it, even if I don't like it. I think it's really important for us to recognize that God is gentle, and he's going to lead us in ways that are beautiful and step-by-step kind of thing. At least that's been my experience, and a lot of the experience of people that I've worked with, that's how God leads them too. So if you're thinking that it's going to be huge, it's going to be a big deal, God's going to work with us in all of it. False belief number 4 is that my no protects me better than his yes. So this goes to the point that it's safer for me to say no, and that his yes is just miserable. And what I have found in one experience that I think is really paints the picture of this is I did have a neighbor that I had multiple thoughts to go and visit and to record myself even like praying with them. Like I had this idea, and I still have this idea in different ways to be able to pray with people at their doorstep, help them to hear God on the spot. And so it's like I can see their house right now. I'm looking out my window, I see them, and I'm so nervous. I held it off. I procrastinated. I was just like, no. But then I finally go. And as I go, I'm scared. I think I tried to remind myself that God was with me, but that was hard too. I end up going to the door. No one answers. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, Lord, where are we going? What are we doing? I go around the block, and then I find this guy, and there's this neighborhood cat that is walking around, and this cat that's visited our house. And it was so natural and easy for me to just open a conversation with this guy and talk to him about the cat, which led to further conversation about what in the world I was doing, which was, hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I am talking to people about God. Would you mind if I talk to you about this? And he was open, and it was crazy. I was like, oh my goodness, the Lord has known I've wanted to do this. And so in the orchestration of this whole event, not only did that door wasn't answered, but I felt prompted to just go around the corner, just walk. And the Lord set up this situation where I could ease into a conversation with a neighbor about a cat. And then I just opened my mouth. I even admitted how I was afraid of doing this. And he was so gracious. And I recorded the whole thing. Like my hand was shaking. It was kind of cold outside. But that's the kind of God we have. The kind of God who he's going to lead us in the most beautiful ways. Now, if you have ever done something that was hard for you to do, how do you feel afterwards? How do you feel after a hard workout? How do you feel after a challenging puzzle? How do you feel after doing something that you feel God prompted you to do? The answer is you feel amazing. You feel great. You feel like, wow, I did that. That's so cool. At least for me, that's mostly how I feel. And that's how I feel. I feel over the moon. Whenever I do something that I feel the Lord's inviting me into, it feels amazing. That's joy. That is liveliness. That is coming alive because we're doing something that we never thought we would do. We are expanding our possibilities. And the thing is, the more you do things that are unfamiliar, the more you get comfortable with uncertainty. The more you get comfortable in the truth of who God is, the more you recognize and actually see God working in your life. See, if we stay in the comfort zone and we don't act upon things or don't even approach God with questions that could lead us into different actions, then we'll never know. We'll never know what's on the other side. We'll never have the experiences that increase our trust in the truth of who God is. And so when you can allow yourself to fail, and I'll give you this as a bonus, like a fifth belief, a fifth lie that we believe. And that is we believe that God can't redeem our failure. That if we mess something up, there's no coming back. There's no way that we can regain what was lost. The truth is that God can redeem. There's this reference in the Old Testament of God restoring what the locust has eaten. So there was a time when locusts came and they devoured the land. And it's like God is telling us that he can restore all that. Just like with Job, it's like he loses everything, but everything becomes restored. It's redeemed. So if God is a God who redeems failures, then you can move forward knowing that no matter how hard it is, he's going to be there. He's not a God who's just there to force us into hard things. He's going to be gentle. He's a God who's not transactional. He's transformational. What he leads you into is going to transform you. That's the point and purpose, is so that you grow in relationship with him. It's not about you serving God simply for the act of service and for you to just feel like you've done something valuable, that you've earned love. No, God invites us into things so that we build a relationship with him. We grow in it. And so there's all these elements that I just know come together to help us approach this fear. Now, as far as an activity that I want to share with you right now, there might be something that you have been afraid to talk with God about. You know, I have a friend who he wants to start his own business and he's in this nice job right now. And he's been afraid to go to God about starting that business because he feels like God will tell him to leave his job. He's like afraid of that. So there might be something in your life that you're afraid to ask God about, or you're afraid to even connect with God because you think it will eventually lead you to the thing that you most fear. So I want you to consider for a moment, what are the things I'm afraid that I'll have to give up by listening to God? And get very specific. Like choose one specific thing that you think you'll have to give up or that you'll have to do that seems really hard if you open that line of communication. Now, once you have that thing, likely you have already imagined having to do that thing or having to give up that thing. And so I just invite you to go there. Activate your imagination. Imagine having to give it up, the sorrow that you'd feel, the fear that you'd feel, or maybe you imagine having to talk to the stranger, do the thing that's really hard and feeling uncertain about it all. Like go there, imagine it, feel the feelings that might be with that, the fear, the doubt, whatever it is. And I really want you to even picture, like, what is the scene? Where are you? Who's around you? What's going on? And then to imagine Jesus there. So whatever you feel like you have to give up, well, Jesus is right there. Whatever you feel like you need to do, oh, Jesus, he's right there with you. And he's not going to leave you. He's not going to abandon you. He's going to stick with you. He's going to help you know what to say, know what to do. He wants to take the load of the burden that you feel is associated with the thing or with the giving up of the thing. And just notice how you feel. Notice the difference. Now, if you want, what you can do after this video is over is that you can just continue the conversation. You can say, Lord, I am afraid of this. I'm afraid that you will ask me this. I'm afraid that if I talk to you, this is what you'll invite me into. Just tell him the truth of your fear and then give him space to speak. Write it down in your journal. Write down all the fears that you have and then say, Lord, what do you think? And then free write whatever comes up, whatever you notice comes up in your heart and your mind, whatever love would say. And after you're done, just read what you wrote. Share it with someone that you feel is connected with God. It's like, does this sound like it comes from God? Share it within the Receive Academy. Come into the community, share it with us. We'll help you out. All I know is that you're not alone when it comes to being afraid of asking God things for fear that he'll tell us to do something hard. I've been there, and I don't know if I'll ever overcome this fear, because the Lord is going to continue to invite me into uncomfortable things. But I know God well enough, and my relationship is increasing, that I'm becoming more willing to just easily go into those things because I know that he's gentle. I know that he's going to be there. I know that this is about relationship with him. I know that he's going to carry the burden. It's not about me doing something simply for his own pleasure. It's about relationship. And so if there's something that he's inviting me into that's going to increase that relationship, yes, I will say yes to that. And he's perfectly patient with me. He knows that it might take me a few weeks or maybe a month before I go and talk to the neighbor. And in his perfect timing, he sets up a situation that is perfect for me. And he's going to do the same for you. So I hope this helps. There are other videos that you can watch in this series. And I just know that as you connect with God, as you join the Receive Academy, as you come to the Hearing God Challenge, these things that we put on in this organization, you will find that you connect with God in a deeper way more often. And it just is so freeing. So I just invite you to come in. Thank you for listening and watch this next video. All right.